They had been waiting for hours. No movement. No sound. Just the wind moving through the broken trees. The commander checked his watch again. The enemy was supposed to arrive at dawn. But dawn had already passed. "Stay alert," he whispered. The soldiers tightened their grip on their rifles. Every shadow looked like danger. Every sound felt like a warning. Then, movement. Far ahead. Figures appeared through the fog. Slow. Careful. Silent. "They're here," someone whispered. No one fired. Something felt wrong. The uniforms looked familiar. Too familiar. One of the soldiers narrowed his eyes. Wait. Silence fell across the trench. Those weren't enemies. They were soldiers. But not from the other side. From their side. Walking straight toward them. No weapons raised. No warning. Just walking. Confused. Calm. Like they didn't know what was happening. The commander's voice trembled. "Don't shoot, something's not right." But then, one of the approaching men lifted his hand. Not in attack, but as a signal. And everything changed. They were close now. Closer than anyone expected. Through the fog, the figures became clearer. Different uniforms. Different sides. But no one was raising a weapon. No one was running. No one was shouting. Just walking. The soldiers in the trench looked at each other, confused. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. One of them tightened his grip on the rifle. Another slowly lowered his weapon, just a little. The commander stared ahead, trying to understand. Was this a trap? Or something else? From the other side, a man stepped forward. Slow. Careful. No sudden moves. He stopped halfway. And then, he raised his hand. Not to signal attack. Not to give orders. Just to show he meant no harm. For a moment. No one moved. No gunfire. No explosions. Only silence. A silence that felt louder than war itself. The distance between them disappeared. Step by step, the unknown soldier moved forward. No weapon raised. No fear in his eyes. Every movement was slow. Controlled. As if one wrong step could bring everything back to chaos. From the trench, no one fired. They were watching. Trying to understand. Why the enemy wasn't acting like an enemy. The soldier stopped just a few meters away. Close enough to see his face. Close enough to realize he was just like them. Tired. Dirty. Human. For a moment, time stopped. No one gave orders. No one broke the silence. Then, something unexpected happened. One soldier from the trench stepped out. Alone. His boots hit the ground softly as he walked forward. Two sides. Two enemies. Now standing face to face. No guns raised. Just silence. And a choice. They stood there. Face to face. Close enough to see every detail. The dirt. The exhaustion. The fear. But also something else. Recognition. Not of an enemy. But of someone just like them. For a moment, no one moved. No orders. No commands. Just silence. The kind of silence that doesn't exist in war. The soldier who stepped forward slowly removed his hand from his weapon. Then, he did something unexpected. He reached into his pocket. Every muscle tightened. Every eye locked on him. One wrong move. And everything would end. But he didn't pull a weapon. He pulled out something small. Something simple. Food. He held it out, carefully. Not as a trick. Not as a threat. But as an offer. The other soldier hesitated. Just for a second. Then, slowly, he stepped closer. And accepted it. No words were spoken. But in that moment, something changed. Not the war, but the people inside it. For a moment, no one moved. The battlefield was silent. Not the kind of silence after victory. Not the silence of peace. This was different. This was fragile. One wrong move, and everything would collapse. The soldiers watched. From both sides. Confused. Uncertain. No one had trained for this. No one had prepared for a moment like this. Where the enemy didn't act like the enemy. The men who received the food looked down at it. Then back up. Slowly, he nodded. A small gesture. But it meant everything. Behind them, more soldiers began to shift. Not forward. Not to attack. Just standing. Lowering their weapons. One by one. The tension didn't disappear. But it changed. The fear was still there. But something else appeared with it. Understanding. For the first time. They weren't just soldiers. They were people. Standing in the middle of a war. That suddenly didn't make sense. The silence didn't last forever. War doesn't allow moments like this. Somewhere behind the lines. Far from the battlefield. Decisions were being made. Orders. Cold. Clear. Final. And they were already on their way. Back on the field. The soldiers didn't know it yet. They were still standing there. Still caught in that strange moment. Where no one wanted to be the first to break it. But then. A distant sound. A signal. Faint, but familiar. The kind every soldier recognizes. Heads turned. The moment shifted. The connection started to fade. The reality of war returned. Slowly. Reluctantly. One soldier stepped back. Then another. Hands returned to rifles. Not raised. But no longer relaxed. The distance between them began to grow again. No one spoke. No one needed to. They all understood. This moment was ending. Not because they wanted it to. But because they had no choice. The moment was gone. Just like that. No signal. No final word. Only distance. The same men who stood face to face were now stepping away. Back into their roles. Back into the war. The silence didn't disappear. It changed. It became heavier. Harder to carry. Because now, they knew. They had seen each other. Not as enemies. But as people. And that made everything harder. Rifles were held again. Positions were taken. Eyes focused forward. But something was different. No one rushed. No one wanted to be the first. But war doesn't wait. It never does. A single movement. A single decision. And everything would return. Not because they chose it. But because it was already decided for them. The line was drawn again. And this time, no one stepped across it. The war continued. Just as it always does. Orders were followed. Positions were held. The battlefield returned to what it was before. But something had changed. Not in the world. Not in the war. But inside them. Because once you see the person on the other side, you can't unsee it. They went back to fighting. Back to surviving. Back to doing what they were told. But now, they carried something with them. A moment. A memory. Of a time when no one fired. When enemies stood still. And chose not to pull the trigger. It didn't stop the war. It didn't change the outcome. But it stayed with them. Long after the battlefield was gone. Because sometimes, the most powerful moment in war is the one where nothing happens.